Okay, and welcome to part two of this video series. I'm calling it An Author Learned How to Code because that's what I was. I was an author and I had no idea about tech. And I was like, hey, let me learn this coding stuff. And so if you missed part one, you should definitely go back and watch it. I introduced the whole series and what I'm going to talk about. My name's Keith Hayden, and I'm a guy who learned how to code. And I want to share these lessons that I've learned with you that I learned during my first 100 days of code challenge. So at the end of the last video, I talked about how I got into NFTs. I got all hyped into it. And what I didn't mention in that episode or in that video is that I actually minted my first NFTs. I think I minted 2 NFTs. I remember I minted the first one and really screwed up on that one. You can listen to the audio recording where I talk about that. Oh man, hard to make mistakes on a blockchain. So I did that and I got into crypto. I got a crypto wallet. So I did all these other crypto things. So at this point, I'm not just learning how to code, but I'm also learning Web3 and all crypto and all of these other associated technologies. So that's an important point to mention. So when we started off in month 2, which was December of 2021 for me, I had to hit the brakes because the first thing that happened was I kind of ran out of disposable income to be able to throw into crypto and NFTs and all of that stuff. And it's because this stuff can be pricey. I mean, it just is. Like when you start dealing with networks like Ethereum or Polygon or whatever, like you got to pay these gas fees, or you just got to have some money to be able to deal with that. And so at the time, I kind of had to cool off on that. And also, another big event happened in December for me. We were planning a huge trip that had been planned before COVID, pre-pandemic, to Antarctica, which it was an incredible journey. And if you're at all interested in travel or Antarctica, you never even heard about it, you don't know what it's like down there, take a look in the description. You can check out, I got a whole video series on that, so you can check that out. But that leads me to my next lesson that I want to tell you if you're about to start this challenge and you want to learn how to code, which is life is going to happen to you. Look, y'all, we're talking about 100 days, learning this stuff. And that's a long time. 100 days to do anything, commit and do it hopefully daily if you can. That's a hard thing to do. And within that time frame, I guarantee you something is going to happen. Either some pre-planned or unplanned event is going to happen to you and it's going to knock you off your game. And you're going to be like, oh crap, I committed to do this and now I'm screwed up. What do I do? So just know that that's going to happen. Something's going to happen during your 100 days that's going to knock you off track. That's okay. That's okay. That leads me to my next lesson is if you do get knocked off track, just start up again. If you have to miss for a day, 2 days, a week, whatever, just start up again. If you really want to get into this, yeah, is it going to hurt you to miss? Probably. This stuff, there's a lot to learn with these technologies. And these are kind of skills that are very disposable to where if you do not use them, especially as you're learning them, they're going to fly out of your head that fast. Trust me, it's happened to me. I'm already looking back, and somebody mentioned the other day on Twitter, they were like, oh, I'm really having trouble learning CSS. And I was like, yo, I haven't looked at CSS in like a month. And I just learned it like recently. And I'm already like dreading going back and being like, what the, how do I identify an object? Like, what's a class? And anyway, point is, this stuff is going to leave you, but don't let that discourage you from continuing and getting back on the horse should you get knocked off, right? So that leads me to my next lesson from this month was that consistency is key. And you're going to hear this a lot from people that if you're reading online or you're in any community, you've got to try and do this stuff daily if you can. If you have the time, just do it. You need to do it. The goal of the 100 Days Code Challenge is to do it for an hour a day. An hour a day might be too much for you, but if you can do the hour, do the hour, especially if you're just starting. Because when I was learning this month, when I had to take, I think 2 weeks off, like from learning how to code when we were on our trip, and I was at the very beginning stages. So luckily I didn't have too much to remember. I didn't have very far to fall. at that point, but it was still a blow. And I remember getting back and starting after our trip and being like, man, I don't remember anything. I have to go back and reread stuff, right? So that's about staying consistent, right? So as soon as I was able to get back on track, I did, and I was all the better for it. So this was a brief video in this part of the series. That's okay. There's going to be more lessons to come in the next part. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. If you enjoyed this video, share the video, share the wealth. If you're getting something out of these and you're learning stuff, share it with people. I've got a lot of resources down in the description of my own writing, my own recording, stuff I was thinking in real time as I was learning this stuff. What I would do was, and this goes back to what I talked about in the last video about documentation. What I would do is after I got done with each learning session, at least I would try most of the time, is I would either record an audio clip or I would write what I learned, or I would just tweet. And that was a good review process to be like, okay, this is what I learned, and just to go back over it and clarify my thinking. So that's a pro tip for you. If you have the time, of course, to document, very helpful. So don't forget to do that on your coding journey, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.